Hi, this is Anil and welcome to the video tutorial for the learning line on C++ programming. So in this tutorial we're going to learn how to invoke the methods using the base class type when we have an object of the derived class. Alright, the first thing that we're going to do is, for the demonstration purpose, we're going to create a class. So it's going to be person, and this person class is going to have a public member. So it's going to be the access specifier public, and we're gonna have a function, and let's call it as introduce. So this introduce is the method of this class person, and here in this introduce method we're gonna say hey from person. Alright, let's end this line. Okay, now we have a class called person and we have a public method called introduce. The next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna create a class called student, and we're gonna inherit from this class person. So it's gonna be class and the student, and it's gonna be public inheritance. So it's gonna be public and then the base class name, which is person, and here we're gonna have a public method, and let's say we're gonna override this introduce method. So I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna paste it here in the derived class or the class student, and I'm gonna say hey from student. So now we have a base class which has a method introduce, and we have another derived class which is inherited from the base class, and we have overridden the base class method in the derived class. And the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna build a function outside these two classes, and let's call it as void who's this. This function is going to take a parameter of type person, so it's going to be person, and let's say p. Right, in this function who's this, what we're going to do is we're going to call this introduce method. So it's going to be p dot introduce. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to create an object of this class student in my main function. So it's going to be student, and let's say Anil, and then I'm going to call the introduce method. So it's going to be introduce using the object Anil, and then I'm going to call this who's this function. So it's going to be who's this, and I'm going to pass Anil as a parameter. So what is going to be the output? So now all of us know that this Anil.introduce is going to call this introduce method of this class student. That's because this object is of class student and we have overridden the method, and that's why we get hey from student. And then we are passing the object Anil to this who's this function which takes the person type, and since this Anil is a object of this class student and this student is derived from this class person, that's why we can pass that reference of this derived class to this function. And when we do that, what happens? Let's see. I'm gonna save this, I'm gonna build and run this, and you guys can see here hey from student, that's from this derived class introduce function, and then we get hey from person. Alright, what happened here is this who's this function is gonna take a parameter of type person. At that time, here Anil is an object of this class student and student is derived from the person, and that's why when we use the base class type to call this introduce method, it's gonna call the method which is defined in the base class, which is in the class person, and that's why we get hey from person. So this is how you guys can invoke the methods using the base class type. Here we can do this by using a pointer also. So I'm going to change this one to pointer p, and we need to use the arrow operator, and here we need to pass the address of this Anil, and I'm going to save this, I'm going to build and run. I get the same result, hey from student, hey from person. And also we can do this by reference also, so we can have ampersand symbol here, and I'm going to remove that here, and I'm going to change this one to dot. So now also we're gonna get the same values or the same result, hey from student, hey from person. So this is how you guys can invoke the methods when you use inheritance using the base class type in C++. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.